Hey YouTube, Untamed here. So today I'm going to talk about the Toyota FJ Cruiser and really just kind of highlight its overall history within the United States and really what led to its ultimate demise. So you guys know this is a 2014 Toyota FJ Cruiser Trail Team's Ultimate Edition, offered in 2014. This was the final year that it was offered in the United States. And really, real quick, I want to highlight the sale numbers for you and really just kind of prove the fact that this FJ Cruiser, this awesome SUV, really was just a victim of poor timing, right? So when was it launched? So let me actually date back even further than this. Back in 2003, this debuted, the concept debuted at the January Detroit Auto Show for the North American International Auto Show. So 2003, the concept debuted, and people freaking loved it. People lost their minds on it, especially because back then Toyota was not known for being adventurous with their designs, right? So they're pretty low key and nothing too crazy, nothing too out there. So when this was debuted back then, people were all about it. They loved the design of it, in and out. People were just super excited. So it debuted and people lost their minds, and because of consumer interest, they were pretty quick. They expedited their timeline to actually turn it into a reality. So by 2005, they did the official debut of what we see today, and there are very minor changes. On the outside, it looked about 90% of what that concept looked like, but on the inside, it got a little bit more bare bones, got a little bit more basic, because they wanted to ensure that the price point remained low. So again, hats off for Toyota for considering that, because they wanted to keep this affordable for people, which is pretty cool. You can't say they do that today, unfortunately, right? But they absolutely considered that back then for the FJ Cruiser here. So when it finally hit the streets, it was offered for the first model year in 2007 for the United States, okay? Technically 2006, but 07 when it was offered for us, okay? Let's talk through the production numbers. So in 06, 07, each year, 07, 08, we're talking 55,000 sales. So 56,000 the first year was offered, then 55,000, and then that little thing happened in history. In 2009, what did we have? We had the whole economic meltdown, if you will, right? So we had the recession take place in the United States, and because of that, the sale numbers were reflected. People were not going out and buying nice new fancy trucks, fancy SUVs, especially ones that got 14, 15 miles to the gallon. So they just weren't doing that, unfortunately. So sale numbers went from 55,000 to 28,000, about half in 2009. Okay, so and to give you, for my Canadian viewers, I mean, it was 5,000 for the first 2 years that it was offered. Then the recession happened, and then it halved that, so it was right around 2,800 for 2009. And then in 2010, between 2010 and 2014, the final year that it was offered in the North American market, it dropped down substantially. So in the US, it was between 11,000 and 14,000 sold each year from 2010 to 2014. So pretty wild. A huge drop from that 56,000 that it started out as, right? And in Canada, it varied between 600 and 900 sold each year between 2010 and 2014. So a huge drop. Imagine if Toyota offered this exact same thing today. Imagine how quickly they would sell, especially if they kept the price point realistic. So let me remind you of how bare bones the interior is real quick. And by that, I mean, let's go to the driver's side because it's locked over there. Hashtag rookie. All right. So even this one has the cat skin leather wrapped interior. So it has that, whereas typically speaking, it does have that durable cloth material. It's pretty resistant. But look at these gauges. Just super plasticky, super cheap, and I love it. And most Toyota enthusiasts do love it because it is so simplistic. And it performed where it mattered, and that was off-road. This vehicle has always done an exceptional job being reliable and handling off-road terrain extremely well. So that has always been its huge perk, of course. But I mean, look at this. Everything's just super plasticky, just a little bit of rubber right here. Floors are completely plastic, even underneath the mat. So pretty chintzy. Look at the steering wheel, right? A pretty bare bones, cheap vehicle on the inside. But again, they did that to keep costs down. But imagine if they sold this today. Imagine if this was offered in the United States, how well it would do. I mean, it's kind of like the 4Runner. I mean, the 4Runner sells like a hotcake still, the 5th generation 4Runner, which shares the same exact power plant as this. You know, it shares the 4-liter V6, as well as the 5-speed automatic transmission that we get in this, that bulletproof combination. But it is kind of a thirsty combination, unfortunately, getting that, 14 to 17 miles to the gallon, maybe a little bit more than that if you get a tailwind. So there you have it. This particular model year, the 2014, they had the Trail Teams Ultimate Edition. This was limited to 2,500 units. Let me unlock it this time. So we had this little badge right here. Limited to 2,500 units for the Trail Teams Ultimate Edition. And each year from 2010 up, they technically had a Trail Teams edition, and they're right around that number, right around 2,500 units for that particular edition. In 2014, they sold just over 14,000 units total in the United States. So I just want to kind of give you that recap. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you would consider buying one of these today if it was still offered just like this. Tell me the truth. And just a reminder, they continue to offer this around the world. So in various other countries, they continue to get this exact FJ Cruiser. I mean, Australia, I think they got it until August of 2016. Then they pulled the plug on it down there. And I think just recently they pulled the plug from the Middle East. I think it was December of 2022, if I recall correctly. They pulled the plug on it with the quote-unquote final edition being offered, similar to the Trail Teams Ultimate Edition here. So there you have it, guys. I blabbed on too much, but I wanted to get your thoughts. What would you do? Would you buy one if they still offered it today? Thanks for watching. Till next time.